My name is Marie Manucherry. I'm an energy intuitive, a healer, a medium. I live in the United States in Washington State. The job I have today, I was a nurse. I worked in a hospital. I was an oncology nurse, which I loved. I was also a mom of three young kids at the time. I was married. And while I was working in the hospital, I began to hear and see our patients' bodies talk. And they would tell me why they were sick and what part of the body was sick and the emotions that were trapped in the body that were leading to the disease. And while that was happening, I began to see and speak to people who had already crossed over. And I began to translate the messages that they brought to their loved ones. So that's how it all started. And then I left the hospital about a year or so after that, and I've had my own business for over 25 years. Yeah, I found out when I was 37 while working on the hospital. So I would be in the hospital and people's bodies would talk to me. They would tell me why they were sick. And started to lay hands on them and help move their energy in their body so that they could have a different experience. So we could get the sickness out of them so that they could heal, or at the very least, reduce their pain and their symptoms. And that's the same place that I began to see people who had passed over, who had died, who was in the hospital. I would see family members of patients that were in the hospital, and I began to communicate to them and tell their loved ones who are still here on earth the messages that they sent us. I was surprised that the experiences kept coming because I had had a few experiences in my lifetime, but maybe once every 10 years I would have an experience that I thought was pretty profound, but then I wouldn't have one for another 10 years. And then when they came, when I was in my late 30s, they came every day. So that was the part that surprised me, that every day I was having a multisensory experience and I was communicating with bodies and energy and people who've crossed over and spirit guides and angels and really God, the universe, when you think about it. So that was the surprising part, and it still has never left me. I work full time in the energy healing world and as a medium, and have for 25 years. I was actually a little annoyed because I was in the hospital and I was a charge nurse. So I was taking care of other nurses too. And as I was kept walking down one hallway of the hospital, there was a woman floating near the ceiling. And I assumed she was dead. But I didn't know for sure because it was the first time I'd seen someone like that floating near the ceiling. And she talked to me. She kind of yelled at me. She wanted me to go talk to her son, who was a patient in the hospital, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what room he went in. I didn't know his name. And we had a lot of patients, and I was really busy. So every time I walked the hall, she would kind of yell at me, and I was tired and worn out. And finally, towards the end of my shift, I was just about to, get off work and go home when she asked me again, and the door to his room started to glow. It started to light up. And then I knew, oh, that's where he is. And so I went into his room and I asked him if I could lay hands on him. And then I asked him if his mother had died. And he said, yes, she had. His sister was in the room with him. And I asked him if his mom was bossy because she had yelled at me a lot during the day. And they both laughed and said she was very bossy. And when I laid hands on him, I could hear her voice. And he was very ill, her son. Like he had a very serious illness, and he was afraid that he was going to die in the hospital. And she wanted him to know that he was going to go home, that he wasn't going to die that hospitalization. And that's why she wanted me to talk to him. So when people are on the other side, when they die and leave their bodies, they are looking for mediums. If they want to send messages to their family, they're looking for them. And she knew before I knew that I would be able to see her, I would be able to hear her, and I would be able to tell him what she said. And from that day forward, uh, I don't get annoyed, when departed people come talk to me, because what they have to say is very important typically, and very, very necessary. They don't come for just typically for just play. They come to help humans on Earth. And so that was it was a fun experience for me. I will say I cried when she told me he wasn't dying. That's when I cried, because he was very ill, and he was going to die probably in the next couple of years, but he wasn't going to die at that time in life. And she also reminded him that she would be there for him when he was ready to leave his body, and she would help him cross over to the other side. So that's when I cried, is when they were having that. I was translating that for her. That was touching. She loves him so much that she was willing to wait until I finally was ready to have a conversation with him. So I do I have spirits around me when I work? I think everyone has spirits around them all the time, no matter what work they do. We all have spirit guides who guide us in life and help us with whatever we do. So yes, I have beings who help me, but there isn't any one in particular that I call for. I feel like just the help comes to anyone and everyone all the time, constantly. Like, you even have helpers around you in the work you do. It's just really natural. It's not an unusual thing, but I don't have a particular person or individual that I ask for help with. I honestly feel like I work with God. I know that sounds weird, but that's just how I feel. Yeah. My job is to really help people live longer. As an energy healer, my job is to help people get better. But I've had clients over my career where they would come to see me for help, and I would say, I don't think I'm going to be able to help you. I think you're going to leave your body. And I have only told maybe 5 people that, but they were so happy I told them. They already knew. They already knew they were going to die. And they were so happy that they could actually talk to someone about it. And then I've had a few clients who already knew they were dying, but they still wanted to talk to someone like me to just help them get prepared for crossing over, for going to the other side. So I'm very comfortable to talk about death. I think it's a normal part of our experience here on Earth and in a body. And when we listen to people who have had near-death experiences, they talk about it as if it was one of the best experiences of their life. They don't talk about pain or fear. They talk about happiness and joy and beauty and calm. So we know that it's a very precious and powerful moment in our experience. I have happy, good feelings about humanity's future. I think humanity is waking up. I think they're becoming more conscious. I think they're becoming more aware. Everyone is naturally intuitive, not just people like me. I just happen to be, perhaps have a clearer picture of it at this time, in my lifetime. But everyone is meant to be multisensory. Everyone's meant to be psychic. You know, whether they do that publicly for the general population or they have the insight for themselves, because we're supposed to use our intuition for our own lives. We're supposed to be able to visit our loved ones who have crossed over and have conversations with them and connect with them and continue the relationship, even though they're not in a body. That doesn't matter. We still can have a relationship with people, and that's what we're supposed to do. So I have a lot of hope for the human race, but not in a wishful way. I actually can see it. I think that humans are moving into humanitarian energy, and that's why we've had so much uncomfortable experiences all around the world over probably the last 8 to 10 years, because everyone can feel the shift, and not everyone wants the shift to happen. Not everybody thinks it's a good thing, because some people are going to feel like they've lost power. when everyone gets to move into their own power, which is really about kindness and compassion and love. Um, so yeah, I'm excited for humanity. And I think it's already started. I think it really started last year, and I think it's just going to keep ramping up and ramping up and ramping up for the human race, which is exciting. It's very exciting. So, yeah, unfortunately, the earth is not as conscious. So the question is, will we still have wars? And what do we do about the wars? Right. So, unfortunately, earth has old souls that live on it and young souls. And young souls learn from compassion. So, usually, young souls have to have heartbreaking, sad kind of experiences to learn compassion. And that's one of the reasons why we have war and crime and famine on Earth. Earth was created to be that way. But we're going to be moving out of that. Even younger souls are going to speed up their lifetime and start to grow more consciously faster. It's going to take a while for us to end wars. And part of that is that when we have certain leaders that are very young souls leading countries, that kind of don't care who dies. It's pretty sad. We have to have those leaders leave so that we can get progressive, you know, people who are older in their soul perception, who believe in the sanctity of life and who believe in creative solutions that don't have to be war and conflict. It will happen, but we will have a shift to no wars, but that's going to take a while. That's going to, because as we see people become more conscious, it's like one person becomes conscious and then another person becomes conscious. It's like an individual experience until we reach a tipping point and enough humans become more aware. And then we start to have governments become aware and police forces become aware and politics become aware. But that part's going to take a while. And I think humans have to be patient for that while they allow themselves to grow and not wait. People shouldn't wait until all the wars end before they allow their own individual consciousness, that the young souls again learn through compassionate experiences and older souls learn through self-compassion. So it's important that older souls are kind to themselves. I do not think, oh, do I think there will be another huge world war? Right. I do not think we will have that. I do think the spirits on the other side are, because if we have a big war, there will be nuclear weapons involved. And the spirit world does not want nuclear weapons involved at all, because not only does it hurt us, but it hurts other dimensions. So they work very specifically to make sure that humanity doesn't go too far and create a world war. Oh, yeah. So I do not think we will have one. No, I do not. But we just had two major eclipses that were quite powerful. And in fact, I think they created a big shift in consciousness, kind of an uncomfortable shift in consciousness for a lot of people. A lot of people individually, I think, are waking up and going, what am I doing? I don't even like my job. Why am I living here? I don't even like where I live. Why am I hanging out with these people? I'm not even having fun. So I think the two major eclipses we had made people wake up. But now that um, Pluto has moved into Aquarius, we're going to start to it may still be uncomfortable because we're going to move into the humanitarian and we have to change things. We have to break things apart. Um, so I guess we could call that strange phenomenon, but I think it's excellent phenomenon that's occurring on Earth, and astrology is supporting the changes that are occurring. So do I have a message for the future or the message for this month, coming up in 2024?
Yeah.
Well, my message is please stop listening to your mind. Stop believing what your brain tells you. Learn to listen to your authentic emotions. Rest in the lower half of your body and trust that the world is getting better, even though it doesn't look that way, even though it seems scarier than before and more complicated. It actually is moving in a positive direction. And know that you have angels all around you and spirit guides and loved ones who are doing everything they can to help you. Because the only beings that really need help are humans. Humans need more help than any other dimension because we tend to be so unconscious and unaware, and we don't recognize that we're multisensory, and we spend our time and attention to things that are unimportant. We waste a lot of time doing things that are not good for us. And so be mindful of the help that's all around you, because it's around everyone all the time, forever. I think one of the first things that a psychic and a medium experiences is that they feel loved by the universe in ways that they could never imagine. It's actually kind of shocking. You know, you might be meditating, learning to meditate, you might start meditating, and you feel so loved that you just start crying because it's just shocking to feel that much love. So that's one of the signs that you could be a healer. You could be a psychic of some sort. You could be a medium because you can feel the heavens, and the heavens love everyone. No one is not loved, even criminals, even bad leaders. Everyone is loved and adored, and the universe shows psychic and mediums how we're all one and we're all connected. So you get kind of shocked because when we're in our humanness, we think, well, these people are not good and these people are good. But the universe, God doesn't see it that way. Creation thinks that everyone is lovable and deserving. And so that's how you start to know you're changing, because your perception shifts. You start to see the beauty in everything. You even though you wish that some world leaders would change or some political viewpoints would change, you also at the same time can feel the beauty of everything. It's actually quite shocking to see how stunning everything is, how perfect everything is the way it is, how magical everyone is, how magical every moment is. So, those are signs that you're definitely connecting to spirit and that spirit is interacting with you, because you have a very different experience than most of humanity. I've been very blessed with the work I do. It's just a natural experience for me. So, even before I started my business, people would just come to my house and knock on my door uninvited and ask for energy work or for a medium session. So I haven't had to practice, but in a way, when people would ask me for help, even before I started my business, in a way that was a form of practice, but it's been an easy, joyful experience for me. So, how to become a psychic? One of the first things that I think needs to occur in what I teach in all of my classes is that people have to stop listening to their mind. The mind is a beautiful organ, but it's really only for logical things. Like you and I needed to get online at the right time to have our conversation and have a talk before we even went live. So humans have this tendency to believe everything their brain tells them, but the brain is only a logical tool. It's not intuitive. In fact, it can't even feel emotions. It's more like a computer. So if people would only let their brain solve uh, like linear problems or logical problems. And if they could rest their energy, they bring their energy, like bringing their consciousness down to the lower half of their body, like to rest right around their belly button or where they're sitting, maybe even wiggle their toes, they're going to connect to the authentic emotional response system. And that's where intuition is. Intuition is where we really feel our real feelings. That's where all of our intuition is. And so every day I practice, every single day, whether I'm working or not, to rest away from my brain, to not listen to my mind, that is where the ego lives, and the ego is drenched in fear. And so people listen to their brain, and the brain's constantly complaining and is unhappy and it feels victimized. But those aren't even real feelings. Those are mind made emotions. And when you can ignore your brain, unless it's helping you drive your car or buy the right food or put the right clothes on your body, when you can ignore your brain, then you start to feel and sense your intuition. And then you're going to know things. And then if you want to work as a psychic, then you can help people intuitively um, make good choices for themselves. So, what we want to do to connect to our loved ones is you first have to get happy because their energy runs very, very fast. They're in a higher vibrational place than we are in the human world. And humans tend to keep their energy really low. Most humans don't think that they're happy. They're kind of miserable, actually. So the first thing a human has to do is get happy. And I mean, authentically, they have to find out what brings them joy. They have to do things that make them happy, like maybe go for a long walk in one of your favorite parks, drink a beautiful cup of iced tea if you like iced tea, listen to beautiful music, watch something funny, get your energy elevated so that the person who's crossed over, they can lower their energy a little bit, not a lot, because they can't come back into the body yet. And then the human, because they're getting happy, they start to raise their energy, and then we can meet and have a conversation. And as your energy gets happy, instead of saying, like, if you wanted to talk to a child or your father, you don't say, "Oh, please talk to me. I'm so sad. I miss you," because that's going to lower your vibration. You want to say, I'm so excited we get to connect. I'm very curious about your life, and I just want to thank you for helping me in any way. You want to stay positive so that your subatomic particles vibrate very, very, very fast so that you can have this connection and communicate well with each other. I know this is going to sound a little confusing, but even money is energy. Everything in the world is energy. Our organs are energy. Our eyes are energy. The television that people are looking into or the computer is energy. Our microphones are energy. Our thoughts are energy. So money is also energy. And sometimes people are raised in families to have low vibration about money. And unfortunately, that keeps people poor. So we have to teach people how to have a different relationship with wealth so that they can raise their vibration regarding wealth. And then they'll attract more wealth in their life. And then they can have more freedoms and more opportunities and more influence, eat better food, go to better schools, not work as hard. When people work so hard because they need to work to eat and to take care of themselves, then they don't have the time to actually do inner work. They don't have a time to change their consciousness. They're just working so hard so that they have enough to buy a bed and to sleep and to eat. And so it makes their life very challenging. So if we start to raise our children to have happy thoughts every time they're going to engage with money, every single time. So you have to kind of figure out as an individual what makes you happy. Like, I love subatomic particles. I love electrons and protons. I love chemistry. I think it's interesting. So before I do anything with money, before I grab my wallet, before I touch cash, before I touch a credit card, before I put my password into online banking, I think about subatomic particles because they make me happy. I don't think about money. I think about electrons and protons. So once you determine what makes you happy, like sunlight might make someone happy. The sound of water might make someone happy. The sound of dogs and cats playing, the laughter of a child can make someone happy. If you think about that first, and every single time for the rest of your life, that before you connect with money and you think about that happy thing, you will change your relationship with wealth and you will attract more wealth into your life. And that's how we can help people who are impoverished to get out of the impoverishedness, because even in many parts of the world, Many countries have given lots of money to lots of countries. And I'm not saying that it's enough. I'm just saying that even in those moments when we've given billions of dollars to suffering nations, they still remain poor because they have to change their energy. They have to look at, they have to experience money in a different way, not from fear, not from lack, not from worry, but from something that makes them happy. So we can change that.
Yeah.
So even if, let's say, you and I raise our vibration about money, that affects naturally the people who are around us. Even when I'm walking my dog in the neighborhood, because I have a different vibration about money, my neighbors will pick up on that naturally. That could influence them, even if I never talk to them about it. So one of the ways that we help the human race is that we work on ourselves. We change ourselves, and that's where we're going, because people are waking up and they're starting to realize, oh, I can manifest. Oh, I'm not alone, there's spirit in the world. Oh, my grandfather cares about me even though he's not here any longer. People start to have these awarenesses, and then they change themselves, and that's how we change the entire world. That's what needs to occur. And then other people start to change because we change. Even if we don't talk to them about it, our energies talk to each other. Your energy talks to the people in your neighborhood and in your family. And then people start to get curious and wonder and begin to study things. And they have a different belief system. That's why I have a lot of hope for the human race, because I think that's what's happening already. It's already started. What if I am living a life with incredible success and I'm completely fulfilled? You don't have to know what it is. In fact, it's almost better not to be too specific about what it is that you want to bring, because most humans don't know what they're really good at or what they're really going to like or what's going to make them happy. So you want to be kind of general. You want to have your subatomic particles elevated and then say, what if I am incredibly successful and fulfilled in this lifetime? And you don't think about what you say, you don't process the information, you just repeat it, let go, and then things will start coming into your life like, oh, I would love to do that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm creating more success, I'm so fulfilled. You'll just start to notice that you are manifesting things that you didn't even know you were good at or talented at, or that you could become financially comfortable with, by using what if questions and raising the vibration of your energy. Reincarnation is real. So the question is, are there lots of spirits in the hospital? And why don't they come back to life? I so I believe reincarnation exists, but I believe souls wait a long time before they reincarnate. So time goes slower on Earth. It goes very fast in the heavens. And so, like, 1 year here could be 25 years over there. And I think souls wait anywhere between 50 to 100 years before they come back to Earth. And nobody has to come back to Earth. There are many, many places to reincarnate to, physical places like Earth and non physical places where you don't have a body. So people can go to wherever they want to have an experience, and free will is the strongest law in all of the universes. So there's a lot of spirits around hospitals because souls are coming into Earth. They're being born in the hospital, so souls are coming to Earth, and souls are leaving Earth when people die who get very sick in the hospital. So there's a lot of angels helping these souls, and there's spirit guides, and when someone's leaving their body, a lot of their loved ones from other lifetimes even come to join them and to celebrate with them as they're crossing over. So it is very busy, spiritually speaking, in and around a hospital. It's very active. Like every day I talk to dead people, and every day I help the human who's alive by talking to their loved one and helping them with problems and resolutions and grief. But to me, it's just a normal day at work. So I don't think that those experiences are weird. But that experience was very weird for me because I literally thought I was dying. but I wasn't. She just came into my body. She walked into my body to get my attention. And and so that I would get up off the couch and go help her. And I'm so happy she did. I'm so happy she did. I saw her today, actually. I was in the car. I haven't seen her, and she's been dead for a while. And I kind of got lost. I was looking for an address, and I happened to drive by the cemetery where she's buried. And I didn't think anything of it because it's a popular cemetery. And then as I drove past, I noticed she was sitting in my car, and we had a nice conversation, just talking about the people we know that are still alive and their bodies and her children. It was really fun. Yeah. Do your very best to stop thinking and start to feel your real emotions. And real emotions are calm, they're compassionate, and they're a little bit surprising. They're not logical. It will never make sense to your mind. Just like intuition makes no sense to the brain, your brain will never understand it. And be hopeful. I think the human race is waking up. That means you're waking up. That means your intuition is waking up. That means your psychic ability is waking up. We don't have enough healers and psychics and mediums on the planet to help people. We don't have enough. So if it's something that you want to experience, don't give up hope on that. In fact, believe in yourself and let creation help you. Let the universe help you so that you can grow your consciousness and your awareness and live in the world as a psychic, because we need a lot of psychics on Earth. We don't have enough, and more people are waking up, and so they need help and assistance.